Can I just, like, live in the Weasley's house with the Weasleys forever? Hey everybody, welcome back to the Harry Potter movie reviews. Today we are talking about the Chamber of Secrets. Now that we've gotten through the introduction of what we're going to be doing here, I just wanted to touch a little bit on there's some obvious conflict going on within the Harry Potter fandom and world right now in relation to J.K. Rowling, or as some people are dubbing her, she who must not be named, which is kind of funny. If you're going to watch the movies, like if you're watching them for the first time or you want to rewatch them while we're doing these reviews, I just ask that you guys try to find them for free, because whenever a star or a writer, somebody famous, gets into this hot water because they say something, they do something, whatever, and, this gets into all cancel culture and, can you separate the artist from their work, whatever. I can talk about that later, but my personal take is that you can separate the art from the artist, but it's preferable to not give any more monetary rewards to it. There's some stuff going on with her that, I personally don't agree with, and I just think that if we cannot give any more to her than already has been given, that would be probably the best at the moment. And I think it's safe enough to say that from this point forward, now that we're not into the introductory movie, there's going to be spoilers. But yeah, going into Chamber of Secrets, this was also directed by Chris Columbus. He directed the first two, and pretty much the same cast, same crew, and it really, you can tell because it's the same sort of feel that you get from the first one. Honestly, it's kind of the consensus I have for most of what I'm going to talk about, is that it's kind of like the first one, but a little bit more advanced. So the pros are sort of the same as Sorcerer's Stone. You have the overall tone is still completely magical. They were very accurate to everything that happened in the book, and they tried to fit it all in, because there's a lot of obviously new things introduced here, a lot of great casting. Kenneth Branagh as Gilderoy Lockhart was incredible. Jason Isaacs as Lucius Malfoy, he is also incredible. It's got a lot of cool moments, got a lot of cool creatures that we're introduced to. Like, the practical effects are, even better in this one, honestly. And sets and everything. The Chamber of Secrets, the burrow, you have this contraption where it looks like these needles are knitting like a cloth themselves, and behind the scenes you just see it's just this mechanism that it forms that motion. And there's actually even a funny story where Richard Harris, who plays Dumbledore, he saw Fawkes, who is an animatronic, and was like, man, how do you get these birds, how do you train them so well? And the producers and cast looked around at each other like, do we tell them? And they had for this one another fully CGI character. In the first one they had Fluffy, but he was only seen, or they were only seen every so often. With Dobby, he's there for most of the movie, and it looks pretty good. For 2002, it's pretty good. And honestly, really, this is Sorcerer's Stone, but more confident, more advanced. They really just knew what they were doing with this one. And it's cool because since it's not Sorcerer's Stone, and it's not where we have to introduce everything and we have to make every single thing a big reveal, now we feel like we can just casually walk around the castle. We can just look at things and talk about things as if we already know what they are, which it's very cool to have everything be grand and big, and this first time we're seeing it. But it's also cool, after all of that, to be able to just be like, yeah, now we're in Hogwarts, now we're doing it. We kind of know what the lingo is and everything. As for the cons, kind of the same thing. Again, there are a lot of the same ones as the Sorcerer's Stone. The pacing is a little weird. It's just, I feel like it's just too long. Even though it's only 8 minutes longer than the first one, it feels really long, and it just keeps going. There's no point where you can be like, that's the midpoint, that's this or that. It just feels like it kind of keeps going. Even the deleted scenes aren't even like, when you watch the extended version, I wouldn't think that those would be deleted scenes, because they honestly seem pretty crucial to the story. And so you could tell that I think they were struggling a little bit with trying to figure out what to put in and what to leave out. It almost feels like, you know, when you're in school and they're like, go to the textbook and highlight all the main points. Well, if you were like me, I'd be like, okay, that's got to be a main point, right? Well, that little detail has to be a main point, and then suddenly the whole page is highlighted. That's kind of like what this movie is. I'm all for more Harry Potter and more of the world of Harry Potter, but I know for a mainstream audience who just wants to go watch a movie, 2 hours and 32 minutes regularly, and then for an extended version, 2 hours and 45 minutes, a little long for a Harry Potter movie. And the other thing is, you know, like Sorcerer's Stone, the acting is here and there a little dramatic, theatrical, or acting, whatever you want to call it.
Your parents were meddlesome fools, too. Mark my words, Potter. One day soon, you are going to meet the same sticky end.
Now, to my kind of main point, it's not really so much like an overall con, but I don't know what it is. This is completely a personal thing. I feel like out of all the Harry Potter movies, except for maybe one other one, which I'll talk about later, this one just feels off. I don't know why. I have tried to figure it out forever, and I can't figure it out. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the length, if it's because there's a ton of continuity errors that are pretty glaring. I don't know if it's just because this is my least favorite of the plots, which, don't get me wrong, it's a cool plot. I mean, this whole chamber down in the depths of Hogwarts, like nobody knows about, or knows about at least where it is and how to get to it. That's really cool. It's just something about both the book and the movie are not my favorite. Maybe it's the characters, because honestly, we get introduced to a lot of new characters who are kind of annoying in this one. Gilderoy Lockhart, Colin Creevey, Moaning Myrtle. If you find Dobby annoying, I personally don't, but in this one he can be a little grating because, you know, he's forcing himself into this situation, even though we do love Dobby. But there's a lot of characters who are introduced that are just really grating. Specifically, Moaning Myrtle. She is annoying as shit. I'm just thinking maybe it's because it still has the same sort of unpolishedness of the first one, but without the luster of it being the first one and being introduced to all of these things. Let me know what you guys think. Is it just maybe the plot? If you do know what it is, let me know, or at least an idea for you of what it is. Because I really want to know. I want to figure it out, because it has the same tone as the first one. It has the same magic and whimsicalness. It doesn't stray far from the book or anything. Honestly, those are my thoughts on Chamber of Secrets. But they really, I mean, it's like Sorcerer's Stone. They have more authority over it. They knew what they were doing. It's long, because they tried to put everything in, which I think was just, on their part, they wanted to do what they could to bring the entire series to life. For some people like my mom, it's like, look, it's one of the only two that feel extremely magical, and I can get behind that. I mean, that's true. So for scoring, since a lot of the problems I have with it are mostly plot and not the movie, the scoring is not going to be as harsh as I'm making it sound. Firstly, to accuracy of the source material, that's still a 4 out of 4. I mean, they put everything, except for the Death Day party from the book into the movie. They are once again accurate to the characters and to the feel of those characters. For tone, this one's weird because I have that personal take on it, but I can still also recognize that the tone is very magical. The tone is, again, the Harry Potter world, but I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 4 just because there's something for me that feels just slightly off about it. And then for cinematic quality, that one is going to be a 3 out of 4 because, like I said, it's like the first one, but a little better. It also has a lot of new stuff, a lot of new movement. It just looks a little cleaner. Definitely the point off is for a lot of the continuity errors. There's literally a whole shot where the cameraman is in the shot. And so for the overall score, even though the other scores do average out to another 3.5, I'm still going to give it a 3 out of 4, just because I do like it a little less than the Sorcerer's Stone. So those are my thoughts on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Let me know what you think. Put it in the comments. I want to know, is this still your favorite because of the magic? Do you also feel like something's a little off? I genuinely want to know if I'm the only one. But look forward to the next review because we are going into Prisoner of Azkaban, which is my personal favorite, and I think my favorite movie of all time. So get excited for that. Go watch Prisoner of Azkaban. And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and Harry Potter right in the middle. Can we talk about the fact that Tom Marvolo Riddle exactly equals I am Lord Voldemort? He just anagrammed. He had to have sat down at a desk and be like, all right, Tom Marvolo Riddle. All right, well, that letter's not in there. Okay. All right, well, then what? Can't do that. Voldemort. That sounds like a word. Let's go with that. Voldemort sat down and anagrammed his own name. Think about that.